Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got a good one for you today. It's behind closed doors. We're going to talk about, for one, Coinbase and the possible token issuance and what that might look like. Man, I think it looks like a pretty good picture from here. And we're also going to talk about the BIS Innovation Hub, Jerome Powell. We're going to talk about the digital dollar and a public good. Let's roll that beautiful intro.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradley above at the top of the screen, and everything that we're talking about here today. This comes from Michael Val 5 Link. Shout out to you, my friend. Though the document mainly discusses the exchange's upcoming stock offering, it also considers the possibility of a native cryptocurrency. Now, we did cover this the other day when it came out, but I want to go a little further with what this idea of Coinbase doing a token issuance might look like here. So let's go ahead and get started. We look at this article here. Will Coinbase introduce its own exchange token? And it does go down, and like I said, we did cover this, but I think this is really interesting because Coinbase is so massive. Is Coinbase token likely? Despite Coinbase's concerns, the idea that the exchange could introduce its own cryptocurrency is not entirely out of the question. We did cover yesterday that there was a spot in the issuance of Coinbase's release that did cover that they have been considering the idea, right? They haven't fully committed into writing, but they did show that they are seriously considering it and weighing it in. So many leading crypto exchanges have their own assets, including Binance with BNB Coin, Huobi, Gemini, KuCoin, and OKX, right? In fact, Coinbase is already highly involved with the USD coin, stablecoin. It co-founded with the Center Consortium that produces the coin. It also distributes rewards to the USDC holders who store their balance on the exchange. In light of those facts, a new Coinbase cryptocurrency for retail purposes seems somewhat unlikely. It is somewhat more plausible that the firm will tokenize its shares for institutional trading, given that it does not have an asset for that purpose yet, though even this is still uncertain. All right, at the time of writing, this author held at less than $75 worth of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and altcoins. I feel bad for you. Anyway, getting back to it here, there's two ways this could break. Well, three. They could not do anything. And two, like they mentioned, it could be more of a tokenized issuance of stocks, right? So tokenized stock offering. Now that would be very, very interesting. And I think that would go really far for public awareness because they've IPO'd, public awareness of what tokenization and digitalization is and what it can do and the benefits of what it can bring to the entire financial world. You know, there's a lot that can happen from that particular side. Then there's the idea that they would release a token just like their own asset, just like we see from Binance with BNB, right? And then I thought to myself, hey, what does that look like? So one, we do know, just to cover this, just to be sure, this is what was mentioned in the filing, right? The mention of blockchain token in the risk disclosure sections doesn't mean that Coinbase has concrete plans for such a launch. Still, its inclusion suggests that to some degree of consideration has taken place. It also signifies Coinbase's interest in an area that other exchanges such as FTX and Binance have pursued. Again, this leans into the idea of whether they would do a token instead of a tokenized share. Again, it could break both ways. It could break a third way and they decide not to pursue any of it, right? So, but I just think it would be very interesting to see where that goes. I really, really do, because, Binance token, I saw it as high as 300 plus or what have you. And that was amazing to me. I can remember, and I don't have a position in it now. And this is the kind of thing that happens in the crypto space, right? I remember buying Binance Token. I think I did a couple different buys at like $3 and $5, and I may have done one more at like around $7. I can't remember. It's been some time ago, but then I ended up like getting out of it at like 30 or $35, and then it went to 300, and it's sitting at 209 right now. Now I made profits. I'm happy. I got my profits, but I could have stayed in longer, and look where I would have been now, right? It was not my main investment. I was happy to get the bump that I got, and I used it to deepen a position in other areas. I'm sure you could guess which one. But the reality is like, what would this look like for Coinbase? Because I mean, Coinbase themselves right now, the shares for Coinbase, when they announced that the news of the public listing soared, the pre-IPO shares listed on FTX rising from $390 per share to over $430 in a matter of a couple hours. Damn. Now imagine what would happen if pretty much the largest exchange and most brand awareness, reputable exchange on the planet, Coinbase, releases a coin like BNB. What do you suppose that bad boy's going to be worth? Things that make you go, Well, let's change gears and talk about another digital token, and that's the digital dollar. And this is interesting to me because, again, I have said very, very loudly and clearly on this show that the on and off ramps with central bank digital currencies are really of the utmost importance, because this space is going to continue to be crippled and riddled with problems until we see the central bank digital currencies come into this space and provide what they consider to be the legitimate on and off ramps, so they can track you, so they can stay in control, they can remain in power and remain relevant. That's really what the back end of this is really about for them. And they understand that better than anybody. And I do believe that it will be extremely timely that we get these CBDCs released, that the market will look completely different, because they will feel much better about the fact that whoever has this digital dollar from wherever you're from, they will be able to track what you're doing with it. And you might not like that. And I know the libertarian in me doesn't like it at all. But the reality is, being 50 years old almost here, I also understand that, this is the way the world goes. So like it or lump it, this is where we're headed. Now, I do want to play something for you in a second here. This does talk about and consider the questions. It doesn't have any definitive information in this article, but rightfully so, because the political winds are behind fintech and they're behind crypto and blockchain. I really do believe that. That doesn't skirt the issue that a lot of congressmen and women only understand cryptocurrencies as to be used for illicit activities and fraud, right? So, at the end of the day, I do believe there's still a learning curve that has to take place there. But I also believe that bodes well for the introduction of the digital dollar. So then we can have control over understanding where all of this money is moving to and from. Right? Okay. Now let's take a look at this, because this is Jerome Powell talking to none other than Kristalina Georgieva, now the managing director of the IMF, for which the U.S. government has given $3 trillion to for new SDR issuances. Yep. Played that in yesterday's video. Might want to watch that one. Here, you're going to hear him back in October of 2020 acknowledge for the first time publicly that there needs to be a public-private relationship, where he had, since before that time, had always denied that, always claimed that he did not want any kind of private company relationship working with the Fed. We also get from him in this that we know for sure, and we do know for sure now, that they were working with the BIS Innovation Hub. But there's an important point that I want to make out of here that's made in this video, and I want you to hear it. And it's about public good. And when things become public good, like the internet is a public good, but the internet is not controlled by the government, right? There are standards and regulations, right? There's the W3C, which is the international standards body that oversees the standards and principles of the World Wide Web. But the reality is no one owns it, and it's a public good. Let's listen to these comments real quick back and forth here. Here we go. Everyone from Ripple to high level government, they tell us, oh, the U.S. is behind. The U.S. is behind. What I see is that the U.S. has been behind closed doors. And they're about to reveal what is going to bring us to the front of the line of the fourth industrial revolution. We didn't miss the internet. We're not missing this. Is there work to be done? Yes. Is there public information that we need to see roll out and happen first before it can officially take off? Of course. We've been in this space long enough to know that work behind doors has been done to a great degree, internationally and domestically. Now, they still have things they can work out. Obviously, that is for sure. But I think whether or not they're doing this is absolutely off the table. They are 100% doing this, and is going to happen. And I absolutely firmly believe that you would have to be completely robotic to not see at this point that it doesn't involve XRP. All right, let's go ahead and play this clip right here and then deal with the comments after. Here we go.
And how do you see your collaboration with BIS? Agustin mentioned the special partnership with the Federal Reserve System. So how do you see this new frontier and what role you play at it?
Thank you. So let me start by saying that we strongly support the work of the Innovation Hub and would stress that it's very much geared to creating public goods. We will have lots of conversations with industry and stakeholder engagement.
Really quick, we're creating public goods. That does not mean government owned. Okay? Let's get that straight now. It can, but it doesn't have to specifically mean that it's government owned. Okay? Let's understand that about the comment public good. Okay? The internet protocols that we're using to communicate with one another right now is a public good. It is not government owned. So let's keep this going here.
And that'll help us in our work on digital currencies and cross-border payments. We need to work collaboratively with the private sector, and we also understand there's a need to do ways that foster development of public goods. So the private sector is likely to be able to contribute through technological innovation. The public sector brings a perspective that seeks broad public benefits. And with payment systems, there are going to be potentially large network effects that create increasing returns to scale, meaning that we may well see over time emerging a small number of dominant players and ultimately great difficulty in competing with those players. Indeed, that is what we see with a number of the tech giants today in their existing businesses away from payments. We do need to collaborate with the private sector to best achieve our goals, and we're very mindful of the challenges of doing so.
But before he goes another step, that's the first time that's come out his mouth in a public setting. It's the first time it's come out of his mouth, and in fact, he's been adamant that it not be a public-private relationship. This, to me, is clear in a way one of those big red flags or signals that lets me know that behind closed doors, it has been kept from us that it will be a public-private relationship, and it has been all along. There you have it right there, and I absolutely firmly believe that. We can go back as far as 2017, can't we, to the Federal Reserve Faster Payments Task Force, when we know that Ripple was on that committee and even selected as the solution to help with transparency of cross-border payments as well as everything else that comes with it. And this really, really brings it to a forefront for me where it's much deeper than just getting clarity for the digital asset space now, isn't it? What we also need to go along with this clarity for digital assets is our digital dollar. Because until they can track everything that's happening in this new crypto world, they're never going to feel good about letting us continue to do it in the manner that we have. That's going to do it for me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Head on a swivel. This is crypto. You never know. Make sure you check out all the links in the description box and the comment section. Unstoppable Domains is exactly that. They are unstoppable. Make sure you get your .crypto today. They now resolve in the main search engines like Firefox and Google Chrome. It's amazing what they are doing over there. They're like GoDaddy on steroids. They just keep getting bigger and better. And they have enormous things that are getting ready to come off. You're going to hear even more on that tomorrow. And you will have a chance to participate in winning some of that and bidding on some of that stuff. And as well as it's tax time. Clinton Donnelly, the crypto tax fixer, is exactly that too. Helped saved over $40 million in audits and defense. Make sure you contact him. Link in the description and comment section. I'll catch all of you on the next one.